All right, let's take a little bit of a break from the season finale that may be the season finale that may not be the season finale. Brett's probably looking at me like, what are you talking about? I'll explain later. Of the Gamer Zone to talk to Rhett Bryan, executive producer of Titans Radio. And Rhett, I appreciate you joining us for the funeral. And I mean, not funeral, but really final game of this. No, I say it because it
You
fits.
couldn't do that with a straight
I
face.
couldn't. I couldn't. I couldn't even try to be straight. Like I couldn't even just try to get through the whole thing because I mean it's like it is. It's like a death of the season. It's kind of like, all
Yeah,
right, well this is happening. I know that it's just kind of sad in one way because every single game that you play for a long time means something. And I
sure.
mean now we're kind of here, and it's just kind of a. It's not just the death of a season though. It's the death of the king. Okay, not like that. Let me back that up. That sounded really bad.
Phrasing,
Yes,
phrasing.
phrasing. Okay, it is
This is not
potentially.
Game of
Oh
Thrones.
my god! Yeah, we're not putting a head on a stake outside of a
No, no,
castle.
no, 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 not
So,
doing that.
let's totally re. I'm totally rephrasing this whole question. It
Mm,
is the potential end of Derrick Henry being the running back of the Titans. Now, again, there's a lot of things that can happen. There's franchise tags, there's deals, there's incentive offers, all this stuff that could happen. Absolutely, but for all intents and purposes, we believe that this is potentially the end of Derrick Henry as a
mm,
Tennessee Titan. So instead of talking a lot about the Jags and everything coming up, you were there when he first got into the league. You have been there through the DeMarco Murray years. You were there through his evolution. You were there through everything with that. So like when we talk about Derrick Henry to you, like what do you think about? What do you remember most and what have you thought about the most with him through his period as a Titan?
Well, first of all, he was, and he still is tracking towards a Hall of Fame career. And the thing that I think about for him is, what was that, 2021 when he broke his foot after during the Colts game on Halloween, and he missed
Mm-hmm.
the last 9 games. He had almost 1,000 yards rushing right there. He could have been the only player um, to have 2,000 yard rushing seasons, if I'm correct. I don't think anybody else has done that, which I think would have helped cemented him maybe in Canton. But I think about when he came into the league, you mentioned DeMarco Murray, that allowed him time to have this tread left on the tires as we're talking today, because he ran a lot in high school. He ran quite a bit in Alabama, and I mean seasonal carries. And he's had run a lot, as a Titan. But I think about, that first, I don't know, 18 months he was a Titan. Um, I mean, there were moments where, was he going to be traded? Was he going to be released? Was he, and I go back to that London game in 2018 against the Chargers at Wembley. Um, he wasn't even the lead back. He wasn't even the goal line back at a lot of situations. And, it's documented pretty well about the conversation that he had with Eddie George. And he buckled down and dedicated himself even more to his craft. And that's when he started working in that sand pit outside of the bubble practice facility bubble at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, and he worked on scout team, and he did all kinds of things to try to better himself. And a few weeks later, he had that breakout game against the Jags, oddly enough, on Thursday Night Football, 238 yards, 4 touchdowns, the 99-yard run, and he's never looked back from that moment. In his 5+ years in that window from that game on, his numbers stack up with just about anybody who's played the game as far as what he means to a franchise and how much he kept them in games, helped them win games. He got better as a receiver every year. He worked diligently on that part of his craft every off season. And of course, the physique and the workout videos he posts, or he's lifting Volkswagens and running up mountains and throwing tractor tires a mile or whatever. Um, he's a special talent.
Make him sound like
He,
John Henry. He was
yeah,
driving stakes down at the railroad track with just one swing of his hammer.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, he does seem superhuman at
Yeah.
times. Um, but I think about those playoff games, especially in 2019 and the AFC Championship run, and how happy he was that night in New England and in Baltimore. And I remember Chris Johnson was in the locker room and they were celebrating. I don't know. There's a lot of sentimentality there, and I think that's what Titans fans are going through. I think a lot are still not prepared to see that this might be the last game he plays in a Titans uniform. And you're right. I mean, stranger things have happened, but I lean on the side of this is probably it. Um, the same could be said for Ryan Tannehill, and they had a run there.
Mm-hmm.
They had multiple winning seasons, multiple playoff appearances, a run to the AFC Championship game, and the window kind of closed on them. And I mean, think about it. This time, a difference from a year ago to now, how much there is a difference. We were getting ready to play the Jaguars in Week 18 in the last game of the regular season to decide the AFC South Division Championship, and the Titans had control of that with 3 minutes to go in that ball game. And things went awry, and Jacksonville won the division crown. And the Titans have been through a whirlwind of change, and much of it because of contract situations as it relates to the salary cap. I think the good thing in all of this is knowing what's ahead, because there's some bright stuff ahead. It's hard to wrap your mind around that if you're thinking nostalgically about the players that I've just mentioned that may not be here in 2024 as it pertains to the offseason and going into the 2024 season. But they've got their quarterback in Will Levis. They need to get some things to help him in protection. And you need some other things, but they lead the clubhouse in space with the NFL cap. And if it goes up, as it's been reported, because it's 224.8 million this year, there's a lot of people saying it'll be 240 is what the cap will be, which means the Titans could have upwards of 110 million dollars under the cap. Now, that doesn't mean you go hog wild spending whatever. I think you still need to take the same approach with what you want to do, and as Mickey Ryan would say, balling on a budget, like they had to do this offseason coming into the 2023 season. You can be a little more liberal about things if it's something that you really want to add. And there's some quality free agents that are set to be free agents. Now, again, they could get re-signed by their old team, whatever. But there's a list. It's like, there's some pretty good looking prospects on that list. The NFL draft is the other part of this. And obviously Rand Carthon and his scouts are in the home stretch here. College football is basically over. And, the Senior Bowl is here in 3-4 weeks. And so that process hits another gear, and the combine and, all these things that leads up to the draft. And he doesn't have all the draft capital he wants, but he's got quite a few picks. And it's going to be an interesting year for that, because thank goodness the Titans have where the draft is rich is where their needs align. A tackle is one of those.
Yeah.
It's going to be good in wide receiver. There's several positions it's going to be rich in. And so, all of this stuff is getting ready to switch gears and go into that. As I think about this last game, though, these division games are always crazy, especially as it pertains to Jacksonville. And, those two teams have never gotten along. There's not a lot of like there. And, you heard Mike Vrabel get very angry at his presser yesterday, and
because it sucks.
Lucas had to hit the old dump button during Buck's show.
And that word, out of
losing
all words, out of all words he uses.
Well, because an S-bomb is usually it, but it shows you the frustration. It shows you the passion.
Yeah.
Of which, it's like, I think it was Ian Rappaport quote tweeted where Jim Wyatt had posted that clip.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, for all of us who want teams to tank and get a higher draft pick, this is the mindset of coaches and, administration and general managers and scout. They want to win. That's
Right.
what this whole thing is about. And when you don't, it's bad. It's really bad. And he summed it up rather succinctly,
Oh yeah, actually,
and
I know somebody that's actually has that as
explicitly.
his ringtone now.
Oh, well, there it is. Uh,
But no, and that's the thing about this team and looking back and all this other stuff like we talk about Derrick Henry, but Ryan Tannehill's the other one. I mean, I know that how everybody feels about him now, and honestly, I kind of applaud him for being extremely honest after the game yesterday.
yeah, but the end of the John Wick movie.
Yeah, I mean, like it's that sort of stuff. Did you feel like there were times when you were about to get the ball that you weren't going to have any time to do anything? Oh, definitely. Like I appreciate the honesty from him because
Sure.
a lot of times he's been just blah. But the other thing about him that I think that a lot of Titans fans through what's happening this year and last year and stuff have forgotten about where this team was when he took over as the quarterback in this. And, I know Derrick has grown a lot, but like Ryan Tannehill came in to this team as he was, a failed quarterback in Miami. I mean, it failed as in they didn't need him anymore. They let him go. He comes here as a backup quarterback.
They traded him for a bag of potato chips, basically.
Yeah. I mean, and
he ended up winning 40 games as a starter. I mean, and there was that window in 1920, whatever, 21. I mean, he was putting up some serious numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Serious numbers.
Well, that's why I ask you about him because I mean we forget about 19 and 20 and 21 and the stuff that he went through in 21. Like, all of those things about him, we now look at what happened in 22 and 23 and we're done with him, get him out of here. We're tired of the contract and we want somebody different. But I mean, go back to that Denver game in 19.
Yeah. And they didn't win that game. It ended up being a shutout. I think it was 16-0. I remember AJ Brown weeping in the locker room because he had felt like he had let Marcus down when they made the change in the third quarter, Marcus Mariota, and then the next week and from there on, that was a lot of exciting plays, a lot of things to hang your hat on. I mean, he starts pulling the ball down and running and, runs into the end zone for touchdowns with the finger roll and finger roll celebration. But yeah, every franchise goes through this stuff, some more than others. And did they win a championship? No, they didn't. They won division crowns, but there's a lot to be thankful for in that. There's a lot of good times in that. And maybe I'm one of the ones that's maybe a little more content than others. Mm-hmm. Do I want them to win a world championship? Absolutely. I've been doing this for 25 years, waiting to get back to another Super Bowl. And it's not the only reason, but it's in the back of my mind. Mm-hmm. But for anybody that says these crazy things about Vrabel's lost the locker room, Vrabel's done, we need a different coach, the first question I would pose is, okay, who are you going to get? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that there's not anyone out there, but, Mike Vrabel's a damn good football coach. Well, and I don't care what anybody says.
Well, and that's the thing is that if you look around the league, there's so many people that do talk so well about him. And there's so many, I mean, it was last year during the offseason, we kept hearing that, if the Titans were to let him go, there would be teams that would be considering firing their head coach just to hire him.
Not having an opening, but creating an opening to get him.
Yes.
That's my whole point.
Like, that's the stuff that you
if you let him go today, I could see him going a multitude of places. And I'm not talking about just the obvious line you could draw back to New England, where he helped win 3 world championships. I mean, there are options there. And the guys on the competition committee, you don't get selected for that because you're just a nice guy or what. I mean, he's a smart man. Mm-hmm. And, for people who think he's just an ex-jock who comes off as just kind of a meathead, making a mistake. He's a really good football coach, and he's a he cares about the people involved, and I'm not talking about just his players. Um, I don't know. I, you know, I think if you put the right things together for him, I think he can show you what kind of. I mean, they have what, seven score losses this year,
Mm-hmm.
and I know people say, "Well, Red is still losing." I get that, but it wasn't boat raced. They were in a lot of those games, all of those games. If it's a one score loss, um,
I mean, we
different
compliment
bounces of the
Washington.
ball.
I mean, look at Washington playing the national championship on Monday. I mean, they had a ton of one-score games, and they were on the right end of those games. I mean,
Yeah.
it's literally this close. Going back and going forward and looking at how things were.
Game of inches, man.
I mean,
Game of inches.
I mean, I'm sure that you and I could probably talk for another 20 or 30 minutes about a decision that was made or looking left instead of looking right. I mean, we
Ask
even
Dan
yeah,
Campbell how much it is a game of inches with what happened to them with the Cowboys the other
yeah.
night.
I mean, it's that close. And it
I
sounds
mean,
bad to say that because we do know this offensive line is horrible, but the Titans are like this close even with what they have on the offensive line.
well, yeah, because when you turn the page into the 2024 season, you still have Will Levis.
Mm-hmm.
You still have Jeffrey Simmons. You still have Harold Landry. And you still have Ryan Stonehouse, who may be one of the best young punters in the NFL. Uh, and, a special teams blunder or two got him killed, basically. Um, I checked in with him a couple days ago, and he's had successful surgery. He's doing fine. He's actually up and doing some walking already. Um, but there, it's not an empty cut. Here's the way I explained it to a buddy of mine the other day. It's like, how bad can this be? And how bad can this offensive line? I'm like, look, I, I'm not telling you it's good.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm telling you is this: the cupboard in the kitchen, the cupboard's not empty. It's just not full. There's some quality products on the shelf that you can use. Uh, the cupboard's just not full and overflowing with riches, or in this case, food.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, do I hate this? I hate this. I hate this. So one thing that I've never gotten used to in covering professional football in Tennessee for a quarter of a century, going 100 miles an hour from the time, in the summer, especially, first day of camp. It's full tilt boogie till now. And this time next week,
Oh yeah.
stop. The
What?
train stops. And it's very abruptly, harshly. Win or lose, whatever kind of season you've had, it still ends so abrupt. I've never gotten used to that, ever. And I'm tired and I
Mm-hmm.
want to take some time off. But you know what? Next weekend, when teams are playing in the playoffs, I'll be green with envy. I'll be jealous, be a little bitter.
Oh yeah. Especially
I
when
want to,
it's
I want to,
yeah.
I want to broadcast a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
I want to broadcast a Titans playoff game. But this is what it is. So you just have to move forward. So I can't imagine how hard it is for Mike Vrabel and all involved, who give it everything. 18, 20-hour days, whatever it is they put in. And, when you talked about not sleeping because it sucks so
Mm-hmm.
bad to lose, there's the human element. That's what I've always tried to find in this because, yes, it's a business. Yes, it's one of the top sports in the world. It's cool, but they're still human. They're not immune to problems. They're not immune to life's worries. And, you know, I don't know, man. There's a part of me I felt bad for Mike Vrabel yesterday because if you can find me somebody that cares more than he does in that building, I don't know who it is. And they all care, but I mean, I don't know. It just showed a level of frustration that he's at, knowing that, like I said, the cupboard's not bare, it's not empty, it's just not fully stocked.
Well, and you get to start on stocking it after next week. You at least get to start like looking forward to that. And you've talked about how much money there's available because there's a lot of money. I mean, I know that a lot of people have looked at somebody like a T Higgins or somebody like that, but you know, I can look at like Michael Pittman Jr.'s out there available that he's going to get some money depending on it. I mean, you can go, what is the wide receiver from Miami? Is it Burrows, or I can never say his name properly? Fantastic return guy, which obviously the Titans need. He's a good slot wide receiver. He's not that expensive. Like there's guys like that you could look at. I mean, Jamal Agnew.
How about yeah, Jamal Agnew is one because he's a return guy.
Mm-hmm.
The cornerback Kenny Moore from the Indianapolis Colts. And he's probably more of a nickel, but I mean, you're going to need help in the secondary. You're going to need help an inside linebacker. You need probably another pass rusher. You definitely don't need O-line stuff. You know, Coach Mack and I are already starting to look at different guys. Of course, I watched all those college football playoff games because I'm like, yep.
I like him. I like him.
You know, Rome Odunze, the wide receiver, you know, from Washington. Malik Neighbors, the receiver from LSU. Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. But I mean, here's a guy that declared, and he is a two-sport star at Virginia Tech. Played football and he was a track guy. Cole Beck, who has experience as a return man in high school and in college. He ran a 9.87 100 meters.
Good heavens.
He ran a 4.21 40. So anyway.
Well, I started going down that road because I was curious as, you know, I know we always get excited about the offseason, the possibilities, who we're going to sign, who we're going to draft, you know, what direction's the team going to go, what decisions are going to be made, all of that stuff. You know, I know a lot of people don't obviously look forward to Black Monday, but after that it's, hey, let's look forward to 2024, but we all get excited. But if you're a Titans fan and you know the potential of not just the cap space you could have, the draft possibilities, and, you know, when was the last time you could look at and go back and look at an offseason potentially being as exciting as what we could see this offseason?
Oh gosh, I don't know. It's, you know, been a long time. And let me say this. This is not going to be a one trip around the off season and everything's fixed. It's not that easy. It's probably more of a 2-year plan. But you can get better this year. You can get better. So I mean, we'll just see what happens. But yeah, between free agency and I mean, you mentioned free agent wide receiver. You know who else is a free agent right now or scheduled to be one? Brandon Ayuk.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think he knows Rand Carthon, do you?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Like those, maybe there's a lot of options and there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of things you could do. So,
I'll give you another one.
Yeah.
And this is no slight to Nick Westbrook-Akine, but you know, you like big receivers like that. There's a guy in Buffalo they're not going to be able to pay named Gabriel Davis, who's only 24 years old.
Yeah.
He's only 24.
Yeah. Yeah. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, I know this sucks, and I know we can see the end, and I know, like, unlike the immediately like car crash where it just all stops, you know, we know that road's ending, but
hope springs eternal.
Yes.
That's where we're at.
Okay, so now, but before that, because I know the Titans are not playing next week, and as we're wrapping up with you, if I win tonight, because people have asked me all, you know, for the past couple of weeks, well, I'm on this 4-game winning streak. What's your record? What's your record? I figured out my record earlier this morning, and if I win tonight, I am at 500. So I am 8-8 because obviously, and you remember, house flood, Baltimore game didn't happen. My Hunk's baby Titans didn't go to England. Ooh, nope, didn't go. If I win tonight, should the Gamer Zone come back next week to see if we can get above 500? This is a question that we're going through throughout the entire night, because if I win tonight, we're 8-8 with an incomplete.
I mean, but the regular season will be over.
It will be over, and it would just kind of be of a makeup and just kind of, oh, hey guys, let's all hang out. So that's why I ask. Your vote again. You don't have to say it.
I would say put it to bed.
Put it to bed. All right, Rhett says put it to bed. Okay.
This is the part where ceremonially we take all of the transgressions and the things that bug us and whatever's and you put them in Mama's terracotta flower pot that's empty, and you write them on a piece of paper, fold them up, and you burn them, and you move on. Yeah, I know you think that's funny, but I'm actually being serious at this point.
Wait, is that a real thing?
Sure.
I've never heard
people
of that.
do that.
No,
yeah, people do that.
Well, I mean, I've been to like charity events where people would put notes like in balloons and stuff that they would light that and they would send it off into the sky. But I've never heard of what you just said. That's why I'm sitting here and I'm listening. I'm like, wait, is that a real thing? I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay. So go through the whole thing again, because as you were saying it, I was going, what is he coming up with? I didn't know this was real.
This is not embellishment. This is so. I have seen this in church services. I have seen this in, organizations. But they take a giant flower pot,
okay,
have it sitting on a plate or a piece of wood, whatever, and you would write down either your wishes and aspirations for the new year, or the things that are bothering you, the things that you want to get rid of, and you fold it in a piece of paper and you light it on fire and you let it burn.
Okay.
It's kind of a cleansing.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Anyway.
We learned something. Thank you, sir. I seriously thought you were making this up. I went, all right, where's Rhett going with this? Where's Rhett? Because we come up with so much weird
I would be laughing at this point because I would have deadpanned it very well, but this is not a joke.
I had no idea. All right. Well, see, we're going to end on an education, and we're going to go ahead and get started in the second half of it. See, so it wasn't all sad. It wasn't a total funeral. We were laughing and having fun. We were joking around. Okay. Now we're just going to play Freebird and go into the second half. Okay.
Freebird. And we're going to have Freebird Skinner cover band, and we're going to have a nacho fountain while we're borrowing some lines from Talladega Nights, the Tales of Ricky Bobby.
So, Brett, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been to funerals like this. So let's where you've had that, I've had the redneck funeral. So let's just.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
No. It's whatever the person's wishes is. So that leaves it wide open.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I've had a lot of Freebird in my life. All right.
And when I'm gone, I want people to have fun. I want them to go, dude, he was pretty funny. Remember that time he told us this joke, or he told us this story, or we laughed about that? That's what I want. I don't want anybody to be sad.
I don't want to have this conversation like out in life for like another 20 or 30 years, but I'm just going to say the amount of stories I have just from you and I talking just in the last 3 years that I've been here, I've got a lot of stories already. I have a ton of stories already. I just do. I have a ton of stories. So
I want to live long enough to see my name put in Coach Mac's book whenever his book comes out.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Because again, trust me, I want to be driving down the road in some auto and I'm listening to Coach Mac's book and I go, oh, look, there's Coach Rhett. I hear Coach Rhett. That's it. That's what I want to do. All right. Let's go ahead and get started on the second half. I appreciate you, sir.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Get a dub, man. Get a dub.
Going for win number 5. Let's see if I can get it.
Let's see if the Titans can get win number 6.
Please.
Against Jacksonville.
All right. Let's just knock them out.
Not for just, let's finish on a strong, let's just do the job.
Yeah.
Do the job.
Just get a dub. Just get a dub. And it wouldn't hurt that the fact that if you get a dub, you also knock them out of the playoffs. So that'd be fun.
Oh, terrible.
Okay.
Here, kitty.
All right. Have a good one, sir.
All right. See ya.